I'm Claire Brockett, and I'm a chaplain with Enliven Services part-time, and Enliven does elderly care, so I work in 3 rest home hospitals, Johnsonville and Tawa area, and alongside my role as chaplain, I work out in the community speaking to different groups about living and dying, taking funerals, offering training. My background has been as a teacher, and I'm also a minister, and my strong focus, I guess, for my work is that I believe that everyone deserves to be as connected to their true selves by the time they die. You know, we spend our life going through life, working out what it's about, you know, we go through different ages and stages and whatever. But somehow it's about living well with ourselves, you know, being strongly, feeling right with ourselves. And there were just 3 quick little things that I thought of. One of the groups I speak to quite often are people who belong to the Cancer Society, who are either working through treatment or have had treatment, or family members have had treatment. And time again when I talk, people talk about there aren't enough places that have the language or the framework to talk about living and dying, you know. It maybe used to be that you did some of that in a church, but if you don't go to a church or that doesn't interest you, then where do we have the conversations about illness and illness leading to death, or what it means that we are all people who at some stage are going to die. So language and framework are a couple of things. The other is that I ran a discussion group in one of my homes with residents about death and dying, and you know, as people who know that mainly the way they are going to leave this rest home is on a trolley heading towards a casket. It's very important to them. And one of the things they talked about is, you know, to think that we're getting older and we know we're going to die, but still so few people talk about it. Still people either think it's bad, or you don't want to go there, or it's so painful that we become fearful and we can't engage. Which then led me to the notion of the education, of how we educate people about living and dying. So where do we, one of the things I did in this group was look at the stories that they first knew surrounding death. So getting them to go back in their own lives and think, where did they first consciously hear something about death within their own family structure or within their own community? And now when I think, so what are the stories that people today, our young people, some of you, our little toddlers, what are the stories they have grown up with that are forming their thoughts about life and death, and you know, loss of people and how we interact loss of people into our lives. And of course, alongside that, for me, is that 2 of the places I work in have quite a few people who have dementias and Alzheimer's. And so my key thing, I think, is about the integration of death into our life. That we actually need to integrate death and learning about death into how we live life.